Welcome back to Louise Hay. You can heal your life. We're going to go into chapter 6 today. And here we go. Chapter 6 Resistance to Change. I am in the rhythm and flow of ever changing life. Awareness is the first step in healing or changing. When we have some pattern buried deeply within us, we must become aware of it in order to heal the condition. Perhaps we can begin to mention the condition, to complain about it, or to see it in other people. It rises to the surface of our attention in some way, and we begin to relate to it. We often attract a teacher, a friend, a class, or a workshop, or a book to ourselves that begins to awaken new ways to approach the dissolving of the problem. My awakening began with a chance remark from a friend who had been told about a meeting. My friend did not go, but something within me responded and I went. That little meeting was the first step on my pathway of unfoldment. I didn't recognize the significance of it until some time later. Often, our reaction to this first stage is to think the approach is silly or that it doesn't make sense. Perhaps it seems too easy or unacceptable to our thinking. We don't want to do it. Our resistance comes up very strong. We may even feel angry about the thought of doing it. Such a reaction is very good if we can understand that it is the first step in our healing process. I tell people that any reaction that may feel is there to show them they are already in the process of healing, even though the total healing is not yet completed. The truth is that the process begins the moment we begin to think about making a change. Impatience is only another form of resistance. It is resistance to learning and to changing. When we demand that it be done right now, completed at once, then we don't give ourselves time to learn the lesson involved with the problem we have created. If you want to move to another room, you have to get up and move step by step in that direction. Just sitting in your chair and demanding that you be in the other room will not work. It's the same thing. We all want our problems to be over with, but we don't want to do the small things that will add up to the solution. Now is the time to acknowledge our responsibility in having created the situation or condition. I'm not talking about having guilt, nor about being a bad person for being where you are. I'm saying to acknowledge the power within you that transforms our every thought into experience. In the past, we unknowingly used this power to create things we did not want to experience. We were not aware of what we were doing. Now, by acknowledging our responsibility, we became aware and learned to use this power consciously in positive ways for our benefit. Often, when I suggest a solution to the client, a new way to approach a matter of or forgiving the person involved, I will see the jaw begin to clench and jut out, and arms crossed tightly over the chest. Maybe even fists will form. Resistance is coming to the fore, and I know we have hit upon exactly what needs to be done. We all have lessons to learn. The things that are so difficult for us are only lessons we have chosen for ourselves. If things are easy for us, then they're not lessons, but are the things we already know. Lessons can be learned through awareness. If you think of the hardest thing for you to do and how much you resisted, then you're looking at your greatest lesson at the moment. Surrendering, giving up the resistance, and allowing yourself to learn what you need to learn will make the next step even easier. Don't let your resistance stop you from making the changes. We can work on two levels. One, looking at the resistance, and two, still making the mental changes. Observe yourself. Watch how you resist, and then go ahead anyway. Nonverbal clues. Our actions often show our resistance. For instance, changing the subject, leaving the room, going to the bathroom, being late, getting sick, procrastinating by doing something else, doing busy work, wasting time, looking away or out the window, flipping through a magazine, refusing to pay attention, eating, drinking, or smoking, creating or ending a relationship, creating breakdowns, cars, appliances, plumbing, etc. Assumptions. We often assume things about others to justify our resistance. We make statements such as, it wouldn't do any good anyway. My husband or wife won't understand. I would have to change my whole personality. Only crazy people go to therapists. They couldn't help me with my problem. They couldn't handle my anger. My case is different. I don't want to bother them. It will work itself out. Nobody else does it. Beliefs. We grow up with beliefs that become our resistance to changing. Some of our limiting ideas are, it's not done. It's just not right. It's not right for me to do that. That wouldn't be spiritual. Spiritual people don't get angry. Men, women just don't do that. My family never did that. Love is not for me. It's too far to drive. It's too much work. It's too expensive. It will take too long. I don't believe in it. I'm not that kind of person. Then, we give our power to others and use that as an excuse, as our resistance to changing. We have ideas such as, God doesn't approve. I'm waiting for the stars to say it's okay. This isn't the right environment. They won't let me change. I don't have the right teacher, book, class, tools. My doctor doesn't want me to. I can't get time off work. I don't want to be under their spell. It's all their fault. They have to change first. As soon as I get my whatever, I'll do it. They don't understand. I don't want to hurt them. It's against my upbringing, religion, philosophy, self-concepts. We have ideas about ourselves that we use as limitations or resistance to changing. We are too old, too young, too fat, too thin, too short, too tall, too lazy, too strong, too weak, too dumb, too smart, too poor, too worthless, too frivolous, too serious, too stuck. Maybe it's just all too much. Delaying tactics. Our resistance often expresses itself as delaying tactics. We use excuses such as, I'll do it later. I can't think right now. I don't have the time right now. It would take too much time away from my work. Yes, that's a good idea. I'll do it some other time. I have too many other things to do. I'll think about it tomorrow. As soon as I get through with so and such, as soon as I get back from this trip, the time isn't right. It's too late or too soon. Denial. This form of resistance shows up in denial of the need to do any changing. Things such as, there is nothing wrong with me. I can't do anything about this problem. I was all right last time. What good would it do to change? If I ignore it, maybe the problem will go away. Fear. By far the biggest category of resistance is fear. Fear of the unknown. Listen to these. I'm not ready yet. I might fail. They might reject me. What would the neighbors think? I'm afraid to tell my husband or wife. I might get hurt. I might have to change. It might cost me money. I would rather die first or get a divorce first. I don't want anyone to know I have a problem. I'm afraid to express my feelings. I don't want to talk about it. I don't have the energy. Who knows where I might end up? I might lose my freedom. It's too hard to do. I don't have enough money now. I might hurt my back. I wouldn't be perfect. I might lose my friends. I don't trust anyone. I might hurt my image. I'm not good enough. And on the list goes. Do you recognize some of these as the way you resist? Look for resistance in these examples. A client came to me because she was in a lot of pain. She had broken her back, her neck, and her knee in 3 separate auto accidents. Yet she was late, got lost, and then was stuck in traffic. It was easy for her to tell me all her problems, but the minute I said, let me talk for a moment, all sorts of turmoil began. Her contact lenses began to bother her. She wanted to sit in another chair. She had to go to the bathroom. Then her lenses had to come out. I could not keep her attention for the rest of the session. It was all resistance. She wasn't ready to let go and be healed. I discovered that her sister also had broken her back twice, and so her mother. Another client was an actor, a mime, a street performer, and quite good at it. He bragged about how clever he was at cheating others, especially institutions. He knew how to get away with almost anything, and yet he got away with nothing. He was always broke, at least a month behind in rent, often without a telephone. His clothes were tacky. Work was very sporadic. He had a lot of pains in his body, and his love life was zilch. His theory was that he couldn't stop cheating until some good came into his life. Of course, with what he was giving out, no good come into his life. He had to stop cheating first. His resistance was that he was not ready to let go of the old ways. Leave your friends alone. Too often, instead of working on your own changes, we decide which of our friends need to change. This, too, is resistance. In the early days of my work, I had a client who would send me to all her friends in the hospital. Instead of sending them flowers, she would have me go to fix up their problems. I would arrive with my tape recorder in hand, usually finding someone in bed who didn't know why I was there or understand what I was doing. This was before I learned never to work with anyone unless he or she requested it. Sometimes client comes Sometimes clients come to me because a friend has given them a session as a present. This usually doesn't work too well, and they seldom come back for further work. When something works well for us, we often want to share it with others, but that may not be ready to make a change at the point in time and space. It's hard enough to make changes when we want to, but to try to make someone else change when he or she doesn't want to is impossible. And it can ruin a good friendship. I push my clients because they come to me. I leave my friends alone. Mirror work. Mirrors reflect back to us our feelings about ourselves. They show us clearly that areas to be changed if we want to have a joyous, fulfilling life. I ask people to look in their eyes and say something positive about themselves every time they pass a mirror. The most powerful way to do affirmations is to look in the mirror and say them out loud. You are immediately aware of the resistance and can move through it quicker. It's good to have a mirror with you as you read this book. Use it often for affirmations and to check where you are resisting and where you are open and following. Now, look in a mirror and say to yourself, I am willing to change. Notice how you feel. If you are hesitant, resistant, or just don't want to change, ask yourself why. What old beliefs are you holding on to? This is not to scold yourself. Just notice what is going on, what beliefs rise to the surface. That is one that has been causing you a lot of trouble. Can you recognize where it came from? When we do our affirmations and they don't feel right or nothing seems to happen, it's so easy to say, oh, affirmations don't work. It's not that affirmations don't work. It's that we need to do another step before we begin affirmations. Repeated patterns show us our needs. For every habit we have, for every experience we go through, over and over, for every pattern we repeat, there is a need within us for it. The need corresponds to some belief we have. If there was not a need, we wouldn't have it. Do it, or be it. There is something within us that needs that poor relationship, the failures, the cigarettes, the anger, the poverty, the abuse, or whatever there is that's a problem for us. How many times have we said, I don't ever do that again. I don't ever do that again. Then before the day is up, we have the piece of cake, smoke the cigarettes, say hateful things to the ones we love, and so on. We compound the whole problem by angrily saying to ourselves, oh, you have no willpower, no discipline, you're just weak. This only adds to the load of guilt we already carry. It has nothing to do with willpower or discipline. Whatever we are trying to release in our lives is just a symptom, an outer effort. Trying to eliminate the symptom without working on dissolving the cause is useless. The moment we release our willpower or discipline, the symptom crops up again. Willingness to release the need. I say to clients, there must be a need in you for this condition, or you wouldn't have it. Let's go back a step and work on the willingness to release the need. When the need is gone, you will have no desire for the cigarette, or the overeating, or the negative pattern. One of the first affirmations to use is, I am willing to release this need for the resistance, or the headache, or the constipation, or the excess weight, or the lack of money, or whatever. Say, I'm willing to release the need for this, whatever it might be. If you are resisting at this point, then your other affirmations cannot work. The web we create around ourselves need to be unwound. If you have ever untangled a ball of string, you know that yanking and pulling only make it worse. You need to very gently and patiently unravel the knots. Be gentle, and patient with yourself as you untangle your own mental knots. Get help if you need it. Above all, love yourself in the process. The willingness to let go of the old is the key. That is the secret. When I say needing the problem, I mean that according to our particular set of thought patterns, we need to have certain outer effects or experiences. Every outer effect is the natural expression of an inner thought pattern. To battle only the outer effect or symptom is wasted energy and often increases the problem. I am unworthy creates procrastination. If only my inner belief system or thought pattern is, I am unworthy, then one of my outer effects will probably be procrastination. After all, procrastination is one way to keep us from getting where we say we want to go. Most people who procrastinate will spend a lot of time and energy berating themselves for procrastinating. They will call themselves lazy and generally will make themselves out to feel they are bad persons. Resentment of another's good. I had a client who loved attention and usually came to class late so he could create a stir. He had been the baby of 18 children, and he came last on the list of getting. As a child, he watched everyone else have, while he just longed for his own. Even now, when someone had good fortune, he would not rejoice with them. Instead, he would say, oh, I wish I had that, or oh, why didn't I ever get that? His resentment of their good was a barrier to his own growth and change. Self-worth opens many doors. A client who was 79 came to me. She taught singing, and several of her students were making television commercials. She wanted to do this too, but was afraid. I supported her totally and explained, "There is nobody like you. Just be yourself." I said, "Do it for the fun of it. There are people out there looking for exactly what you have to offer. Let them know you exist." She called several agents and casting directors and said, "I am a senior citizen, and I want to do commercials." In a short time, she had a commercial, and since then, she never stopped working. I often see her on TV and in magazines. New careers can start at any age, especially when you do it for the fun of it. Self criticizing is totally missing the mark. It will only intensify the procrastination and laziness. The place to put the mental energy is into releasing the old and creating a new thought pattern. Say, "I am willing to release the need to be unworthy. I am worthy of the very best in life, and I now lovingly allow myself to accept it." As I spend a few days doing this affirmation over and over, my outer effect pattern of procrastination will automatically begin to fade. As I internally create a pattern of self-worth, then I no longer have the need to delay my good. Do you see how this could apply to some of the negative patterns or outer effects in your life? Let's stop wasting time and energy putting ourselves down for something we can't help doing if we have certain inner beliefs. Change the beliefs. No matter how you approach it or what subject matter we are talking about, we are only dealing with thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. When we want to change a condition, we need to say so. "I am willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this condition." You can say this to yourself over and over every time you think of your illness or problem. The minute you say it, you are stepping out of the victim class. You are no longer helpless. You are acknowledging your own power. You are saying, "I am beginning to understand that I created this. I now take my own power back. I am going to release this old idea and let it go." Self-criticism. I have a client who will eat a pound of butter and everything else she can get a hold of when she cannot bear to be with her own negative thoughts. The next day she will be angry at her body for being heavy. When she was a little girl, she would walk around the family dinner table, finishing off everyone's leftovers and eating a whole stick of butter. The family would laugh and think it was cute. It was almost the only approval she got from her family. When you scold yourself, when you berate yourself, when you beat yourself up, who do you think you are treating this way? Almost all of our programming, both negative and positive, was accepted by us by the time we were 3 years old. Our experiences since then are based upon what we accepted and believed about ourselves and about life at that time. The way we were treated when we were very little is usually the way we treat ourselves now. The person you are scolding is the 3-year-old child within you. If you are a person who gets angry at yourself for being afraid and fearful, think of yourself as being 3 years old. If you had little 3-year-old child in front of you who was afraid, what would you do? Would you be angry at him? Would you reach out your arms and comfort the child until he felt safe and at ease? The adult around you when you were a child may not have known how to comfort you at that time. Now you are the adult in your life, and you're not comforting that child within you. Then that is very sad indeed. What was done in the past is done, and it is over now. But this is present time, and you now have the opportunity to treat yourself the way you wish to be treated. A frightened child needs comforting, not scalding. Scalding yourself only makes you more frightened, and there is nowhere to return. When the child within feels unsafe, it creates a lot of trouble. Remember how it felt to be belittled when you were young? It feels the same way now to that child within. Be kind to yourself. Begin to love and approve of yourself. That's what the little child needs in order to express itself at its highest potential. In the infinity of life, where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I see any resistant patterns within me only as something else to release. They have no power over me. I am the power in my world. I flow with the changes taking place in my life as best as I can. I approve of myself and the way I am changing. I am doing the best I can. Each day gets easier. I rejoice that I am in the rhythm and flow of my ever-changing life. Today is a wonderful day. I choose to make it so. All is well in my world. Thank you for joining me with Chapter 6 today. I think that was very powerful. I will be doing a recap for Chapter 6 in the next video, and then furthermore complete or begin to engage in Chapter 7. I'll see you then.